And so I don't have a lot of products here, but the products that I do have here are well worth a whole nother few additional pieces of makeup. And so I regret that I purchased them, because more time, I would say 9 times out of 10, the products here that I regret purchasing, I was debating on purchasing them. And I should have just went with my gut and said, Chelsea, don't do it. Everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Chelsea, and today we're going to be talking about products that I regret buying for various reasons. So just stay tuned, because, you know, sometimes I buy things that I shouldn't be buying. Thank you to everybody who decided to click on my video and watch it. I really appreciate it. If this is your first time here, I'd love for you to stick around and subscribe to my channel and join our little family over here. And if you are a returning subscriber, I'm so appreciative of your constant support, your likes, your comments, and just for always supporting me here on YouTube. It really does mean a lot to me. So let's just get right into the video, because I have some things to talk about. Okay, so let's, in no particular order, we're just gonna pick up and talk. We have the NYX Foundation Can't Stop, Won't Stop Foundation. I have mine in the shade Golden, and I purchased this foundation. Okay, so when this launched, I didn't purchase it because I said I don't want full coverage and I don't want extremely matte coverage. So, you know, I'm not gonna pick it up, because that's what everybody kept saying. Oh, this is so full coverage, this is so matte, you know, it's not gonna fit my needs, so why purchase it? Well, I purchased it because I love CVS, and I'm sure if you watched any number of videos of mine, you've heard me talk about them. And I love that you can stack coupons and get makeup products for like pennies on the dollar. So I had a really, really great accumulation of coupons, and I was like, well, let me try it. You know, I can get it for like, I don't know, $3. I think that's what I got it for. And I bought it, and I tried it, and I did not like it, for the exact reasons as to why I did not purchase it initially. Why did I do that? I don't know. Here's another foundation. We have the LA Girl Pro Coverage Foundation. I have mine in the shade Tan, and when this launched, I initially didn't buy it because I had really oily skin, and I was like, no. Everyone that I saw review it said it was so dewy and luminous, and I didn't want that. Well, my skin is now normalized, so I was like, well, maybe I could buy it, and you know, I could try it and I could like it. And the issue with this is that it's tan, but I feel like it's a bit pinky. So I've never worn this foundation by itself. I actually mixed these two together, thinking this is really dewy, this is really matte, maybe they could work together. They did not work well together. So yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to mix this one again, but I actually purchased both of these foundations that same day. I got this for pennies on the dollar, so it didn't make sense to return it, but I'm like, I really should have never bought it, because I kind of knew that the shade wasn't gonna be right, and the shade above it and the shade below it didn't work. So I should have just left it at the store, because I knew the shade match was not gonna be right, but I got it and I don't use it at all. Let's talk about this Venti Bd Primer. So this is the original Pro Filt'r Instant Retouch Primer. I have mine in the deluxe size, so it's not the full size, it's the 15 milliliter size. And I shouldn't have bought this primer, because when I got a sample of it when it first launched, I thought it was nice, but I was like, it's not doing anything for me. But I love the brand so much that when I saw that they came out in the deluxe size, I was like, yes, it's only $15. I can swing that, but I don't use it. Why did I get it? I don't know. I mean, I have it, I can use it, but it does nothing for me. I think it's just a nice primer, but it, you know, it doesn't really do anything, so I don't reach for it. I should have just left it at the store, but I didn't. Okay, we have an e.l.f. highlight. This is the Shimmer Highlighting Powder in the shade Sunset Glow. I picked this up off of a recommendation of a YouTuber. I can't remember who it is now. And I was like, ooh, that looks so pretty on them. So I need to go pick it up. Here is the shade swatched on my hand. And this is a pretty highlight. It's smooth, it's not, there's no like glitter flecks on it. And now that I'm looking at it, I need to use it more. But when I say I don't touch or reach for this highlight, I just don't. And I can't even tell you why, I just don't. So I regret purchasing it because I don't reach for it. Okay, so we have an eyeshadow palette. This was what I call my late night purchase. So I'm up, woke up like 2, 3 in the morning, couldn't really sleep, so get on Instagram to hopefully put me back to sleep, and then I made a purchase. So this is the Clarity Picante palette. This is what the palette looks like on the inside. And it is a very pretty palette. But I'm not wowed by it. I'm not impressed by it. I've actually done a tutorial on here using it. And I have used it a few times. And when I've used it, I've liked it. But for some reason, I just don't reach for it. I think it's because the palette is just okay. It's not anything like stunning. The mattes blend okay. The shimmers are nice. They're not really pigmented. I do need to spray them with like some setting spray to get them to pop a little bit more. It's just a nice palette. And I think the price was $19.99. So at the time I was like, oh, this is a really nice palette. I get a lot of shades and it's not too expensive. But I really should have just not done that, because a lot of times when I make purchases in the middle of the night, they are purchases that I regret later. And I should have just been like, no, don't get it. Wake up in the morning and then see if you still want it. Because 9 times out of 10, I probably wouldn't have purchased it. Okay, on to this MAC Hyper Real Glow palette. This is in the shade Flaw Plus Awe. Now, I purchased this because I really wanted the MAC Hyper Real Glow powder in the shade Peach. But I didn't want to pay full price for it. So, like I've mentioned here before, I have an Estee Lauder outlet store that sells high-end products that they own for a cheaper price. So I went in there looking for the peach one, knew that they weren't gonna have it because the peach product is a newer release, and they didn't have it obviously, but they had this one and I was like, I think I can make it work. And so here are the shades swatched on my hand, very pretty shades, but as you can see, they're a little more cool. The only shade that's warm would be this shade right here. And so that's really the only shade that I use. I've used the other two when I've gone for like more pink looks that lean a little cooler, but these shades technically are a little too cool for my liking, so I really don't use this palette. I use it because I bought it and I do like that last shade, but I really should have just left it at the store because the one that I wanted was not there. Moving on to this. This is a cult favorite and I like it, but I'm not wowed by it. So this is the Marc Jacobs Tantastic Omega Bronze. And when I first started watching YouTube videos all the time, everybody raved about it. It was about how great it was the perfect bronzer, yada, yada, yada. And I never got the original one because I felt like it wouldn't show up on my complexion. So I think this was last year that this bronzer came out. And I was like, well, let me go in store and try it. I tried it and it actually did show up on my skin, and I bought it and I don't really use it because this shade is really light. Like, this is more like a contour for me. So here's the shade swatched right here, and I just don't use it. Like right now I can't use it because I've gotten a little bit of sun, so the shade is much too light. But the formula is nice. It does blend very well into my skin. It's just, I don't reach for it because I really can't wear it with, if I can take all of my foundations. I have to wear it with the foundations that really match my skin tone only in the winter time so that I could be as light as possible for it to show up. And I knew that when I bought it, so I really should have just never bought it. Okay, the next one is like a whole collection of palettes, and they are all of my Juvia's Place palettes. So let me just go ahead and show you the ones that I have. I have the Nubian, which by far is my favorite one. I use this all the time. Like, let me show you how beat up it is. She's beat up. She is well loved. So we've got the Nubian. We have the Saharan. Yes, I rarely use this one. Okay, we have, I think this is Dulce. Very pretty, but don't use it hardly. We have the Warrior 2. So here's the Warrior 2. I bought this palette because I think it was Andrea Renee said this was like a dupe for the Natasha Denona, what was the recent one? No, it's the Nude All Matte one, not the Safari. I can't remember what it was, but I think it came out this year. So she said it was a dupe for this one, and I was like, oh yes, I'm gonna buy that. I don't like all matte palettes. And what is this? and all matte palette. Why did I get it? I love Andrea Renee, and so that's probably why I got it, okay? We're not done yet. We've got the Zulu palette. So here's the Zulu palette here, and I bought this palette and I was like, yes, I'm gonna start wearing colors. We have the Warrior, the original Warrior palette. So I actually do use this palette. I do like it. So this was not a waste of my money. But we're not done yet, okay? We've got the Saharan 2 palette. I bought this palette because I was like, the packaging is beautiful. And I was like, yes, I could use this. This is another one that I do use. Don't use it as much as I should, but I do use this one. And then the last one that I have is the Masquerade Mini by Julius Place. And this one I do use as well, but don't use it as much as I should. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Julius Place palettes. I only use really one of them consistently, which is the Nubian one. And then I have 2 or 3 others that I use more, but I really don't get any use out of. And then the last palette that I do have Julius Place by Julius Place is the Saharan Blush Volume 2 palette. I only love these 2 shades in the middle because they are shimmer. I don't like matte blushes most of the time. This has 4 matte blushes, 2 shimmer blushes. Why did I buy this, Chelsea? I don't know. Actually, I do know. I love Julius Place and I love their eyeshadows. I love the packaging. So a lot of times they get me with the colors and the packaging. And I also know that the formulation is going to be amazing and the pigmentation is going to be out of this world. But that does not mean that I need to own pretty much all of them. I regret the majority of them because I don't use them. Now I will say I bought a lot of these on sale because Julius Place does always run sales, so I didn't pay full price for all of them, but I really should have left the ones that I knew I really wouldn't use at Julius Place. Speaking of Julius Place, let's go ahead and attack this foundation. So I have 2 of them because the first one that I bought was Kampala. And when I bought this, I bought it the day before the technical release date, but I heard that they were available. So I was like, yes, I'm gonna buy it early because you know it's available. But when I purchased it, it didn't have a shade finder or a shade match on the website. So I bought the wrong shade, Kampala. My correct shade is Punta Cana. I did do a review of this foundation, so I will link it in the card so you can go watch it. I regret buying this for a couple of reasons. Number 1, I can't return the shade that I can't use. And I hate that Julius Place will not allow you to do return. But I have 2 foundations and I really can't use this. I mean, I can't. So I regret that I maybe was a little fast-tailed and didn't wait, or you know, try to do a better match at finding my shade. Good God, because now I have a foundation I can't use, and it was $20, and I'm like, you know, that could have gone toward another foundation, and it's just sitting here, taking up space. Another thing from Julius Place that I regret buying, and I promise you, I'm not trying to throw shade on Julius Place, I really am not, but these are facts, this is what it is this concealer. So I have mine in the shade J13, and the concealer is nice. There's nothing wrong with the concealer, but I do feel that the concealer is like a little too neutral. So when I applied it, it almost looks a little, I don't know, it's right there. When I wear it, I feel like it almost looks a little too neutral, if that makes sense. So I don't reach for this concealer because I just don't really like how it looks on my face. I am not the biggest concealer person. Like, I like my concealers, and the ones that I love, you all see me use them all the time. Charlotte Tilbury Magic Concealer, ColourPop No Filter Concealer, NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer, and the Too Faced Born This Way Multi Sculpting Concealer. Those are my holy grails, and honestly, if those were the only concealers I could use for the rest of my life, I would be so content. So a lot of times when a foundation comes out with a concealer, I try not to buy the concealer because I know I'm not the biggest concealer person. And so when I bought this foundation, I was kind of like, do I want to buy the concealer? Maybe I should. But I kind of wanted to do the whole review, and I'm like, oh, I think the concealer was $13. So I was like, it's not that bad. Like, I should get it. And I really should have just not purchased it because I'm not the biggest concealer person, so I feel like I've just wasted money, and I did because I don't even use it now. We have this MAC Face and Body Foundation. I have mine in the shade N7, and y'all, I bought this from the Estee Lauder outlet store, so I got it for like right around $20, and I was like, everyone raves about the MAC Face and Body, everyone raves about it. I was watching a YouTube video, and I was like, you know what, let me go see if they have it. And they had it, and I thought it was my shade, and I think this foundation looks too red. So here's the foundation here on my arm, and when I put it on, I was like, this looks either too red or too pink. But in the store, when I swatched it, I felt like it looked okay. But you know, store lighting and natural light can sometimes be a little deceiving. And so I'm just like, I shouldn't have bought this. Like, I have so many other foundations that I like for that natural, very like skin-like finish. And I just bought this because I was like, everyone says it's the best thing ever, and I just want to be a part of the crowd. And now I don't wear it. Those are all of the products that I have here. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please let me know down in the comments below products you regret purchasing, because I think it's always good to talk about those things. We're always hearing on YouTube, oh my gosh, you gotta have it, gotta have it, gotta have it. But there are some things that we all end up regretting purchasing because it's like, I fell into the hype. Or like with me and Julius' place, like, oh my gosh, I love the brand, they came out with something new, let me just buy it. And it's like, but am I going to use it? Just because I love the brand doesn't mean I have to purchase everything from the brand. So those are my little tips here for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you liked it. And that's it. I really hope to see you guys in my very next video. Bye guys.